Okay, I think it's better now. Let me see. Next, okay, so you already know the drill. um, okay, I think we're good with the audio. So let's start. Okay, so good evening, everyone, from wherever you're joining in from. Welcome to Market Prep Sundays with Eva. And of course, the purpose of this is to show you guys how I prep for a profitable trading week, to share the fundamentals, technicals, psychology, risk management um, aspects of things when it comes to our trading, right? So I'm going to obviously start breaking down like the pairs that we're going to be watching for this week. Last week wasn't really crazy. Last week was just there, really. I'm actually still in some positions from last week, so I'm hoping that we get something reasonable this week so we can have some TPs get hit. But yeah, so let us get started. Of course, I'm gonna take this down. Okay, so starting with fundamentals. Um, Tomorrow is a Canadian bank holiday, of course, and I'm happy about that. It's not like it makes a difference for me, but I'm just happy about it. But tomorrow is a bank holiday for Canada. We have AUD red folder Tuesday, CAD red folder as well, GBP red folder Wednesday, Euro GBP red folder Thursday, USD red folder as well. So nothing crazy for USD this week. So we should get some clean moves, right? We should get some reasonable moves. So let's go to the chart. Let's go to the chart. The move I was anticipating for GJ hasn't happened yet. Like it's still playing around still. And I'm still watching, of course, because you can't miss the bag. Okay, so let's actually start with the indexes. So dollar index and Japan index, because those are my two main pairs that I trade, right? So on the dollar index, we've been bullish for the past couple of weeks. We've been bullish on daily time frame. We see that price is creating higher highs and higher lows. So we can anticipate for price to come back to test this level and continue to the upside. That's what we can anticipate for. Or it can come lower to tap this level and continue to the upside. Pending any fundamental, of course, because these days, like, things are just happening. So pending any fundamentals, so meaning depending on what happens, like with the whole tariff back and forth and all of that stuff, this is what I'm anticipating for the dollar to do. So that means USD CAD, USD CHF should buy, GU, EU, NU, AU should sell. Okay. Japan index. Weekly time frame. The weekly candle closed bullish. The weekly candle for last week closed bullish. Ended up respecting this level of support. Daily time frame. The past few days have been really bullish on the Japan index, but I just feel like it's just doing a deeper retracement. Let me see the 4 hour. Yeah, if price ends up breaking above this zone like this, then there's a high chance of price continuing to the upside. However, with where it's at right now, I'm going to be watching closely to see if it ends up rejecting with some nice bearish candles to start selling, right? And obviously the idea behind this is we have a lower high that created the last lower low right? So if this zone gets broken, then the 4 hour time frame would have switched to an uptrend, and obviously the 4 hour time frame switches to an uptrend faster than daily time frame and weekly time frame. So I'll just be watching the zone closely. If price ends up switching bearish in the next couple of hours or between today and tomorrow, we could see price continue to the downside. So it's going to look something like this, kind of like this. And if this happens, that means my GJ, EJ are going to buy, right? However, if it switches bullish, then GJ, EJ are going to sell. Okay. So let us go to gold. Gold came down to this zone, which is a daily zone right here. It's giving daily break and retest vibes, but before I take a trade on this pair, I would be waiting for a clean switch of structure. That's if it's going to go bullish, of course. I'm waiting for a clean switch of structure to continue to the upside, right? I'm going to set my alert at that spot. And of course, the idea behind this is price basically breaking this structure, because this is the last lower high before the lower low. So if price breaks above this zone, continues to the upside, then it would have switched bullish and wait for a retest to go long as well, right? Delete. Okay. GJ. Yeah, so GJ has not made the move yet that I was waiting for last week, because I was anticipating for breakouts, come back to retest this zone to continue to the upside. But now it has come back to the zone. It did not give me my entry confirmation just yet, so I'm still waiting. Let me see the weekly time frame. Yeah, the weekly candle really closed bearish, rejecting this previous level of resistance. Daily time frame, it still looks bullish to me. So let me see how the daily candle closes by 5 p.m. tomorrow. If it ends up closing bullish, engulfing, or reasonably bullish, we could see price continue to the upside. Otherwise, I'll be waiting for more market structure to sell if it's going to sell. Okay. If it's not going to go bullish, I'll be waiting longer to get into a short position if it's going to switch bearish. With that being said, I'm going to set my alert at this spot. Create for this to happen. I'm going to delete this. So the idea is for price break above, retest, continue to the upside. If we're going to go bearish and do something like this or something like this, the idea behind that is for price to break this previous structure that created the higher high, right? So if it breaks below this, then it's going to be a bearish market. Well, we're just going to be watching closely, of course, because our job is just to watch. As a trader, you're just waiting. You have to have patience for this skill. EJ. EJ did not do the thing I was expecting it to do. So let's look at the weekly time frame. So the weekly candle closed very, very bearish. Honestly, the last few weeks of price action has just been so sideways-ish. It will create a major high and then just reverse all the way back, bro. Almost like the trend is getting weak. That's what it's sort of indicating to me, right? Of course, the move I was anticipating for last week did not happen as well. So let's see what we can get for this week. So price looks like it's trying to come back to this level of support to go long, or if it breaks below, it could continue to the downside. Okay. So that would be the first idea. And then if you go down to the 4-hour time frame, of course the market just opened, so I'm still watching what's going to happen, but it looks like it's just really going to the downside already. I'm going to put the alert at this spot here. Oops. I'm going to put the alert at this spot right here. However, if for some odd reason it decides to flip and turn bullish, if it closes above this zone right here, then we could be good for the long position. So something like this, break and retest to the upside. But you know, it's looking very bearish already. Yeah, so let's watch and see. These are my main zones, this zone here and this zone here. This is a 4-hour zone, this is a daily zone. So let's see what it does in those zones or at those zones. Okay, so let's move on to USD CAD. USD CAD did what I was anticipating for it to do, which is to continue bullish, right? Because remember, I told you guys that I have been waiting for price to react off of this level for a few weeks, and which it did. Bullish engulfing closed in the previous week, and then last week closed bullish as well, right? So we should continue, or we should anticipate for price to continue bullish. However, the last few days have been really weak, which could indicate that maybe price is trying to make a deeper retracement before it continues to the upside. So let me see the 4-hour time frame. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so let's see what price does if it decides to come back to this level of support to continue to the upside, right? Because the 4-hour time frame is already bullish, and so on and so forth. So let's see what it does. Of course, we have the CAD gray folder tomorrow, so maybe the USD would gain strength over it. I don't know, we'll see. And of course, I told you guys that I am already in a trade which has now gone into drawdown, bro. USD CHF, I got in on Friday. Reduced risk just because it was the end of the week, but the position looks good to me. Plus, in addition to that, we are coming up to a level of previous support, which could be used as resistance. So that's why I reduced my risk. So coming up to this new week, I would be watching to see if price decides to come back down to my level of support here, right, to test. So if you go down to the 4-hour time frame, yeah, so on the 4-hour time frame here, see that price is basically respecting this level of support, right? Before it was used as resistance, so now we turn support. So maybe it's going to come down here to continue to the upside. We'll see. However, if it breaks that zone, it could be looking really bearish because we came up to a weekly level of support, which could be used as resistance, right? Yeah, so what I'm watching for is to see how price is going to react off of this level of support again. If it rejects again and gives me a 4-hour bullish candle or 4-hour bullish indication, I would be going in with my full risk. And if not, we take a loss and we move on to the next trade, of course. Yeah. And we could also have a break and retest for sell option, of course, right? So let's see what it does. Euro USD is coming to my entry as well. Like, you guys, be so for real right now. Let me go to a clean chart. Okay. So Euro USD, I am in Euro USD for shorts. Watching to see what price does. However, the fact that price is at this level here, it's kind of like, you know, you have to keep your eye on the trade just because it could reject and continue to the upside, really, right? But I'm just going to be watching it closely. Of course, you can see here that the daily time frame has been bearish for the last few days, right? We had a break of structure, right? You see the level of support. Price broke it, has used it as resistance, and now it's coming to the downside. Okay. So moving forward, what I would anticipate for is for price to continue downwards. Oh my goodness. Okay. So that again. For price to continue downwards, not because I'm already in a trade, but because of the market structure that is already printing, right? However, it could also decide to even go higher back into level of support to create the upward wick for the daily time, for the weekly time frame, right? Before it continues to the downside. So that's one option. Another option would be that on the 4-hour time frame, we already switched bearish, so we have a level of support here. Price could be coming back here to use as resistance again to drop, right? Hence this anticipation here. So this is what I am looking at for Euro USD. If price decides to switch bullish, I'll be waiting for more price action to print before I go long. With this zone being my solid zone for a switch of structure because of the previous lower high. Okay, I hope you guys are getting the vibe of how I analyze. Like, it's so like obvious. GU weekly time frame. Weekly time frame is moving sideways. Like, you can see, like, the past few weeks have just been sideways. It did a nice it had a nice drop, and then the daily candle ended up closing bullish engulfing, right? Honestly, I'm not totally loving GU. In order for me to actually take a trade on GU, I would need price to give a clean break and retest at this zone. So I need price to break this support zone, come back to retest, and then continue to go short for me to get into GU. Otherwise, if it's going to go long, I'll be waiting for more price action to, you know, create maybe a higher high and then a higher low, or retest to continue to the upside. So it's going to look something like this. So break up, retest, continue to the upside. Yeah. And what is this? AU weekly time frame. Yeah, so the weekly time frame last like, it needs to peek aside. Do you get, like, these candles are just sideways candles. Like, bro, break structure, do something, you know, like, do something. We have a level of support here which is very obvious, right? Level of support, break and retest to go short. Okay, we still have a level of support, price to come back down to the support, reject to continue to go long. So I'll be watching, set my alert, create. Okay, I also have NU on my list. So let's see the weekly candle. Well, this one has a bit more momentum, but price has come down to a weekly potential support zone. So I'll be watching this closely. This is a move that could happen. Let me see the 4-hour. Nope. 4-hour. Okay. Yeah, let's see what it does. If price decides to continue to go short, we look for a retest during the week to continue to go short with it. Otherwise, wait for more price action if it's going to go bullish. GCAD is like a silent winning pair for me. Like, it's just the wins that it gives me are so, like, quiet. I don't know how to explain that. But the last few days, like, price is just, like, chilling up here. Yeah. Oh my god, why do I keep pressing that one? And the arrow ends up so, oh my god, and I did it again. Force of habit. Okay, this is the arrow tool, the one I'm supposed to use. All right, so daily time frame, price is, like, just up here, so I'm just going to be waiting. Okay, waiting for more price action to decide the next move. We have a 4-hour support level. The price could potentially be rejecting to go long from. Okay, which is right here. Looks interesting. but I just don't like the, I think this is like let me see, let me go to the 6-month time frame. Okay, yeah, price hasn't been up here since 2016. What? Since 2016. Like, it's just really just playing around is what my concern is. But for this pair, I'm going to be waiting for more price action to print before I take a trade on it. Okay, so that's it with the technicals. Now, what's next? The risk management. So risk management, I'm already in 2 trades that are linked to the US dollar. Fingers crossed that no crazy information comes out regarding like tariffs, so that the market would not like go ballistic. But whatever the outcome of the trade is, we move on to the next trade, right? Because we're traders, you know, that's what we do. Of course, for my risk, like I told you guys last Sunday, I have upped my risk to 20% per trade. Okay, so that's what we're going to continue with. Okay. Yeah. So regarding risk, regarding one moment, trading psychology. So last week I was actually talking about the book that I'm reading right now. I'm just setting up my camera because I need to edit this video. Okay. Yeah, so I was talking about the book I started reading. And I found this is the name of the book. It's The Magic of Thinking Big. Okay. The Magic of Thinking Big. And I think this really relates to traders, just because for you to decide to be a trader, you have to be thinking big, right? Because very, very little of the population in the world, you know, go into trading, and very little of them succeed, right? Out of the ones that go into trading. So you have to be thinking big if you're a trader. Now I want to read a line to you guys that stood out to me last week. So this is in chapter 2, which I just finished, page 48. It says, "Don't be a wishful thinker. Don't waste your mental muscle dreaming of an effortless way to win success. We don't become successful simply through luck. Success comes from doing those things and mastering those principles that produce success." So success comes from doing the things that produce success and mastering the principles that produce success. Okay. Instead, just concentrate on developing those qualities in yourself that will make you a winner. Like, this really stood out to me because like it really, really relates to trading, right? As a trader, you already know that like the market is not going to reward you like based on luck. Maybe some people have like beginner's luck. I actually never had beginner's luck. Like, I used to wish I had beginner's luck, but I never did. But the point here is you need to focus on principles that's going to lead you to the success that you're looking for. If you have goals regarding your trading, like if you're hoping to make, you know, XYZ amount of money, you're hoping to hit certain goals before the year runs out, like you cannot just think of it like it obviously is okay, and it's important to think of your goals, right? Because that's where a goal is birthed from your thought process. So of course think about it, but don't just stay in that thinking mode. You have to get into action. You have to you have to start doing things that would actually lead you to the success that you're looking for, right? So meaning master the principles that will produce success. For example, I have a process that I follow every single week, and after a while it becomes a bit redundant, like I'm doing it over and over again, and it's like muscle memory, but this is the thing that's going to produce the success that I'm looking for in my trading, right? If you are struggling with your trading psychology, maybe you still have FOMO, you have some form of fear or greed, you need to understand that you need to eliminate those things in order to achieve the success that you're looking for. Do you get my point? So if you have goals, instead of just writing down your goals and just like watching your goals and looking at it, find the steps you need to take that would produce the success that you're looking for. Find the steps you need to take that will produce the results or the goals that you're looking for, right? So I just thought I should share that with you guys. It really stood out to me. Yeah, so focus on your process, of course, as a trader, because Yeah, it's a process driven skill set. You get. So yeah, I'm hoping for a beautiful, beautiful trading week. I hope you guys trade safe. Let me even check the YouTube thingy. Okay. Can we take a buy now on gold? I wouldn't take a buy now on gold. Someone asked that question in the chat. I would not take a buy right now on gold. Just because we are approaching a level of resistance on the 4-hour time frame. Now, if you look at gold, you would see that price failed to create a new low. Okay, so that's the first indication that it could go long. Oh my goodness, the thing's not even showing. Sorry about that, you guys. Okay, yeah, so if you look at gold right now, you would see that price has created a higher low on the 4-hour time frame, which indicates that it could go long, right? Which is valid, but we are also approaching a 4-hour level of resistance up here. Okay, we're approaching a 4-hour level of resistance, which basically means that price could come up here to this resistance level and literally go short. Okay, what you want is for a clean break and retest, for price actually show its hand to tell you that it's actually time to go short. So I'll be waiting for that to happen before I take a trade on gold. Okay, so I hope that was clear. So with that being said, I'll see you guys next week. I have a new video that's going to be released on Wednesday, so take advantage of the juicy information that's going to be shared, of course. All right, so I'll talk to you guys later. Trade safe.